We're so back. We're so back. Performance basketball sneakers are back on top in streetwear. Let's talk about it. First of all, I just want to shout out subscribers. All right, this channel has exploded. I want to shout out the YouTube Shorts community. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to make more long videos. Let's cut to the chase. So what I want to talk about today is the resurgence of performance basketball sneakers in streetwear. Something we need to clarify here is we're talking about modern performance basketball sneakers. I'm not talking about Jordan 1s. I'm not talking about foam posits. I'm not talking about up tempos. We're talking about the modern performance basketball sneakers. So whatever the new Lebrons are, whatever the new Kyries are, that's what we're trying to get into today. My second thing is, I saw this a ton when I was posting my shorter videos about this. People talking about how I've been wearing performance basketball sneakers, I've been doing this, been doing that, and that's fair. And salute. I'm just talking about the larger conversation of streetwear. That hasn't really been what's in street style. Like, if you really look at it, we've been seeing a lot of like Sambas, Jordan 4s, Air Force Ones. The runner wave has been going crazy. On a larger scale, in both the trends from the brand's perspective and style trends, performance basketball sneakers hasn't really been it. Modern performance basketball sneakers, okay? So I really feel like recent buzz around these performance basketball sneakers could be replacing the buzz that's been going on around like the 80s silhouettes, like Dunks, Jordan 1s, the New Balance 550, and a lot of the buzz around other retros and things like that. People really looking out for the old sneakers coming back. I think these new performance basketball sneakers are starting to make a rise in streetwear. I want to do a little bit of history on performance basketball sneakers and how they have shown up in streetwear. And historically, basketball shoes have always been big in street style. But if you look at like the 80s, we're looking at like the Converse Weapon, Avias, these big, tall, white basketball sneakers, huge in the streets. Like, that was really big in street style. You go to the 90s, obviously you get Jordans, you get Barclays, you start to get a lot of these performance tailored basketball sneakers that are definitely being worn off court. They're being styled, they're very popular. 2000s, it starts to drift a little bit, because in the 2000s, you start to get retros, like probably later in the 2000s, but you get like LeBrons and you start to get some Kobe's. You don't really see the performance basketball sneaker being the it shoe off court. You start to see more retros, Air Force Ones. The it shoe isn't a basketball sneaker anymore. And then you move into the 2010s and you get a full 180 back to basketball sneakers. LeBrons, KD's, Kobe's, in the later part, Kyrie's. This was the renaissance. Like, if you look at the LeBron 8 through 12, those models were heavily represented in streetwear. You look at KD's, specifically the KD4, the KD6, these were sneakers that were heavily accepted in street style and not just hooping. KD's and khakis was its own like style subset, and that was just the fit. Kobe's I personally always saw as more of a performance sneaker, but I do know people used to style them a bit. But then it started to kind of drift off. And I look at around like maybe like 2015, 2016, we saw the Jordan 1 really shoot back up in popularity. And you don't see the performance sneakers in the streets as much. I think back to like really the Jordan 1 craze, the sneakers app popping off, a lot of these artist collaborations, Yeezys, sneakers kind of shifted more towards the artist, more towards the creative, kind of away from the athlete. And I feel like up until like now, 2024, and maybe 2023, the retro or the 80s, 90s sneaker was really popping off. Like, we're talking about New Balance 550s, we're talking about Dunks, Jordan 1s, Jordan 4s are still going crazy. All these different Travis Scotts, all these different J Balvin sneakers, Bad Bunny sneakers. But now, I believe we're starting to see a bit of a comeback of the basketball sneaker in street style. Let's talk about a few examples. My first example, and I had to go out and get a pair, the AE1, man. These are so tough, and I had to get the OG colorway. I've been wearing them a little bit, so these get dirty fast, by the way. I feel like this sneaker and Anthony Edwards and Adidas is a whole movement. I can make a complete separate video about their marketing, Anthony Edwards as a player, and this in street style. But I've been recently seeing these rocked a lot off court with people like Wale, Wale in the 2010s was the inspo. When it came to like streetwear, he was the one leading the charge with Katie's and khakis. He was leading the charge with foam posits, Lebrons, one of the original sneakerheads, original cool guys. And Wale has been wearing these a lot lately. And I think this really shows us what the potential for basketball sneakers is moving forward. But I think what makes these really special too is Anthony Edwards has so much charisma. The Adidas campaign has been so rock solid, and his game has been matching the energy. Like, all of these things are falling into place, making this sneaker huge. And I really think this sneaker has the potential to leave a lasting mark on sneaker culture. The book ones are definitely one we should call out here. Nike is clearly making an attempt here to create a off-court and on-court sneaker. Like, it's very deliberate. These sneakers look a lot like Air Force Ones. They feature a lot of different lifestyle materials or materials you would see on a lifestyle sneaker. So I can definitely see the off-court appeal, and they totally would look good off-court as well. And I love that for the kids too. Like, back in the day when you can only buy one pair of sneaker, these types of shoes are perfect for that because you can totally wear them to school and then also play basketball in them. I think the Anta Kai 1 deserves an honorable mention. I haven't seen it styled a ton in street style, but shout out my guy Junebug. He has been on a campaign with these basketball sneakers. He styled a pair of those. And I do think the Antas have a lot of really like fine detailing. Like, all of these brands are going super hard on storytelling, detail. They have these embroidery hits. They have this feather hanging off the back. I think that's a really cool touch, and that's what gets people excited about sneakers. Next up, we got the Lebron 21. I think the Lebron 21 we finally are getting low top Lebrons, which instantly makes this more applicable to street style. They're not as heavy, and they look a lot more clean all around. They look very aesthetic. And same as the book ones, we're starting to see lifestyle colorways and materials. Like, they're putting hairy green suede on Lebrons. That's how you know this move is being made, because back in the 2010s, we were seeing materials like cork, suede, high quality leathers all going into Nike performance basketball. So we can kind of tell this is making a comeback. I also want to note the Kobe brand. I know they're not actively making new silhouettes, but they have their Protro line where they actively update older models, which I think is awesome because Kobe's are like the perfect basketball sneaker. Also, those reverse Grinches, I saw a ton of people wearing those outside of basketball. These are all examples of shoes that I think are starting to really make their way into the street style conversation and not just on-court fly. Now, here's why it makes sense. The retro market and the sneaker market in general is getting oversaturated in a couple categories. We're looking at the 80s retros. So that is Dunks, Jordan 1s, New Balance 550. Every brand has something like this nowadays. The Adidas Forum, these are all in the same category of sneaker, and a lot of these brands have really been milking them over the past couple of years. The second thing is we have a new era of the NBA. So a lot of these superstars we've been looking at for so long, there hasn't been as much energy in these players because they're familiar faces. But when you get a sneaker like the AE1 and a player like Anthony Edwards, it does build this new excitement of a potential new star. Everyone's saying the second coming of MJ. I believe it. The third thing is fashion has gone through its cycle, and we're starting to get towards different tastes, people wanting to be really unique and standing out in a flashy way, rather than everything being the same color palette of like green and cream, and every silhouette being straight leg Levi's 505s. We're seeing people go in a ton of different directions when it comes to styling. And I think wearing basketball sneakers is a new way of standing out in this way. That's why it makes sense. Here's why I think you should hop on it. The performance basketball sneaker wave of the 2010s was one of the best times for sneakerheads and sneaker collecting. There was this genuine excitement around new models and athletes that was just really contagious. And it brought a lot of creativity to sportswear that I think has been lacking a lot. I think a lot of these brands really did a full pivot towards their artists, towards their creatives. But seeing what Adidas is doing with the AE1 specifically, it just gets me really excited and reminds me of what was going on back in the day. The second reason is these shoes are usually cheaper and easier to get. For a lot of the time, these sneakers aren't sold out. They will be sitting if you actually go outside and you go to your Foot Locker. I'm not talking about the sneakers app. You will probably find one of the sneakers I listed right here. And then the third reason, for any of my aging demographic, these sneakers are comfortable. Like a lot of the new performance basketball sneakers, I guarantee you that AE1 is more comfortable than the Jordan 1. So if you are interested in comfort and something that is more durable from a performance perspective, like you could actually go hoop in them, I think that's a win-win. That's why I'm interested in it. Obviously, guys, always wear what you want. I'm not saying this style's for everybody. And if you're not into basketball, maybe this isn't for you, but people were wearing Nike SBs for a long time without being skaters. So look, I think it's going to be a really fun time for sneakers, for sneakerheads. If we can start to see these brands level up from an off-court and on-court appeal with the performance basketball sneakers, I'm hyped. I'm probably going to get another pair of AE1 soon. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, I really appreciate all the support. Like truly, guys, this has been insane. We're almost at 50,000 followers, which is incredible to me. I want to invest more time into this community. Let me know what you guys are going to be looking for. I will definitely take that into account. I want to grind out and make more long form videos for you guys. But yeah, I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think. Peace. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Stay fresh out there.